On Monday, she takes a walk with Johnny. On Tuesday, she has a talk with Jim. On Wednesday, she likes to dance with Tommy.
Hello there, and welcome back to the podcast where we talk about real people and what those real people really wanted after handing over money to a relative stranger. For some, it was a bit of tiffin. For others, a touch of sausage, or even something a bit more spicy. And no, we're not talking DoorDash. I'm Lynn Ferguson, a big vanilla Scottish woman living in the San Fernando Valley, and joining me is Sephe Haven, at one point America's #1 escort. In each episode, Sephe delves into the index box of all her past clients, and I ask her all the questions everyone wants answered. I'm lying. That's what I should be doing. What I'll actually be doing is assigning the anonymous client on the card with a name and clumsily trying to understand the world of professional sexiness. Anyway, so glad you could join us. Welcome to another episode of My Index to Sex.
On Thursday, she takes a chance with Tim.
Let me see. Yeah, I want to see who I have here because I'm on the K's right now.
Oh, the K's. I need to think of other names. Christoph.
Kurt, Ken, Kit, Kaz, Kevin, because we have Ken, lots of Kens, lots of Kevins, lots of Kens. Wow, Kevins and Kens. Let me see what this one. I have one, but I this is the one that his teeth actually did come out.
Do you want to do it or not do it?
We can follow it up, but the actual teeth come out.
Well, that episode is its own animal, that one. The one we've just... Keith the teeth is Keith the teeth and Bernie.
Keith the teeth, his teeth were fine.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the guy whose teeth came out, and this is the guy whose teeth came out.
Shall we do him then? Is he quite an interesting story?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Well, the interesting thing about this one that I pulled is on the front of the card, my name is not Sasha. It's Delilah, which means that I saw him long before I became Sasha.
What was your favourite name of all the names?
Well, Sasha made me the most money because
that's your favourite.
I didn't like being Delilah because I had a lot of working girlfriends, and that was like a little group of us. And it was Delilah, Dylan and Delilah. My friend Dylan was a great partner. We were totally different people. I mean, she was very quiet. Another Aries, by the way.
Oh.
Totally intense. Decided one day as an escort just to shave all her hair off for no reason.
What are we talking, like the up and down hair or the...
On her head. And then she like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You know how Aries kind of just go, I think I have a feeling I have to do something. And then they do it. And then they go, oh, shit.
Why did nobody tell me? I know that because I am an Aries. But, you know, in my case, it's like, because I'm so domestic, I go, oh, you know what I need to do? I need to make some soup. That's where I'm at. I'm not in your Dylan phase of shaving hair off and having sex with a stranger. That's not me. It's soup. Occasionally I might make a flan, right? That's where I'm at.
Take it easy. Go off that deep end with a flan.
So your favourite was probably Sasha?
No, I think Delilah because I had so many friends. So it was Veronica and Sloan and me and Dylan, probably forgetting somebody, but we were this nice little group of girls that if we could bring each other on the call, we would. So we'd get to a client, let's say, and we'd say, you know what would be so much fun is if you had 2 girls here. And we'd bring over one of our friends. And then we'd say, you know what would be so much fun is if we had 3 girls here. We would want 5 girls over and take over his entire house. I remember one guy fell asleep after because we tired him out so quickly. And he was snoring away in the living room. We covered him in a nice blanket and we went to explore. And of course we were starving because I hadn't eaten all night. And only thing this man had, he was an alcoholic, but he had chicken and broccoli.
Oh, hello.
I know. Like, I thought we would have chips or snacks or, just chicken and broccoli. So that wasn't good. But they had a new machine. This is going to age me really fast right now. Called a microwave.
Oh, my God.
And it wasn't new, but unless you really had a fancy house, you didn't really have a microwave. So we were all very fascinated. And there was, one girl knew not to put anything metal in it. So we decided we were going to put his tie in there to see what happened if you microwaved a tie.
What happens if you microwave a tie?
I'll tell you. So there was 5 girls in lingerie with stockings and heels just giggling their heads off, ransacking this kitchen and watching this tie go round and round and round and round. And apparently there's some kind of metal in that tie because the sparks started to fly. And one of the girls, Veronica, opened the thing and threw water, and do not do that.
Oh, no, what happened?
We ruined the microwave and the tie. And the guy was fine. He was like, "Oh, get another one with you. And you guys stay out of the kitchen." I guess if we must, we'll stay out of the kitchen. So there's no making soup or flan.
Well, there you go. You see, there is a style to what I do. I'm glad you told him, actually, because otherwise that poor guy might have woken up in the morning and gone, "The hell was I thinking?" Right?
We saw him a lot. In fact, he started calling over all 5 of us. So
Wow.
the night would start with, what should we call him?
Oh, Grady?
Grady?
Do you not think Greedy? Do you not think he's greedy? Greedy, he's got 5 girls. Greedy, not. Or did you think I said Grady?
I did.
Oh, no.
No.
What was his initial? Can you give me his initial?
G.
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 Oh, well, can we call him just Greedy?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Graham. Graham. No, Grady. Right. Greedy. It's sometimes called Grady, but really he was greedy.
He was great. He was great and greedy, but I loved him because he would call. So this was back when we worked for agencies. So we would be sitting in the office, and if it was a slow night, you would spend your whole evening in an office making 0 money. So it was nice if you had somebody who called. But if he called, you knew you were staying for the whole night. So you didn't have to worry about getting messy or anything else. So if he called, which he did like 2 or 3 times a week.
Wow.
And he paid by check, which nobody else got to do. And
Yeah.
so you would go over and you would call the office and say you're here. And the madam would start your time. Her name was Susan. She would start your time, and everybody had different times because I'd say, we should have Dylan over. He'd say, "Yeah, call, tell Susan." And then Dylan would come, and then Sloan would come, and then Veronica would come. Pretty soon it'd be the 4 of us and maybe one other person that we could think of. Rebecca, let's bring Rebecca. We'd have these nights where he would be sitting at his upright piano completely naked, playing. He was so talented. He would play Beethoven or Bach and just be playing. And then there would be a chessboard going because he would kind of get up and make a move, and then you'd sit down and do another move, sort of like they do in the park, you time. And then some girls would be laying around drinking wine, smoking cigarettes, and playing a whole different music, usually Bridge Over Troubled Water or The Buck by Simon and Garfunkel. And then there'd be a time where we play, suddenly we have to have a game, and we'd play, keep them entertained. So we'd play naked charades, or you'd have to guess correctly, or you lose an item of clothing, anything we could do to keep the fun up and time going.
Do you think that Grady was just lonely?
Yeah, it's a funny story about him because I just loved him. I saw him my whole career. Every girl in New York ever knew him.
Yeah.
Every girl knew him. And he started out kind of a mess. He was one of those Mayflower babies. He had all the old money in the world.
Ah, right.
He never would have to work a day in his life if he didn't want to. But he had a stockbroking job, so that's a lot of money. Plus he was on the board of everything because his parents are very, he was old money, very old money. And I think having old money wasn't good for him. So he drank a lot because he was bored, maybe. He picked fights in bars. He would call the madam, Susan, and say, "Send Natasha over to the bar." And I'd have to be at the bar while he was picking a fight and try to calm down everybody else around him not to beat him up, And he'd pretend he was more drunk than he was. He would pretend like he would fall into the bar stools and knock down a domino of bar stools. And then we'd get home and he'd be fine.
Wow.
He had a belt that looked like it belonged to someone who didn't have clothes, holes on the sides of it, and shoes that were penny loafers without the pennies that were falling apart on the sides and in the back. And he just liked to be contrary.
Yeah.
Really contrary. Because he was smart and really bored easily.
It's this weird kind of Dionysian vision I've got in my head of like this guy with his penny loafers that are falling to bits and 5 women in lingerie while he plays piano. For some reason in my head, he's playing piano with his loafers on and nothing else.
It'd be true, actually, for him, And he would sometimes create games where he would disappear in this big apartment and leave us clues, and we'd have to go on a scavenger hunt to find him. And he would be sitting somewhere like in a closet naked, But we got to spend the whole evening at $300 an hour.
Oh.
And this was better than waitressing to me, you know?
Did you ever have to, I mean, the thing with him is, with Grady, is did you do stuff with Grady? Did you have any, like, stuff going on? Or did you just, like, chase things around the apartment?
Well, 90% of it was, you know, games and fun, titillating games, crazy games, blow up pigs that had vaginas and, you know, what with the blow up pig with the vaginas and weird stuff, you know, whatever the weird. And then he would make us take home all the toys that he bought because he didn't want to maybe die or have the maid find them and ever be caught with a toy or get anything in his house. So everything had to go. And then usually I would take them home because they were expensive, but some girls would just take them and throw them in the garbage on the corner. So whoever did the garbage cans on the corner in the morning got blow up pig with a vagina, dildos that were like 10 feet long and nobody could, I don't know. Here, share this.
I wonder what his relatives from the Mayflower would consider. If there's life after death or you're being haunted, can you imagine you're looking down, you're like, what is he doing? He appears to have a pig with a vagina. That'll be Grady.
We get them too much money. No, he was actually a very handsome man. And like I said, he only ate really healthy, aside from his major drinking, but he, ate chicken and broccoli. And he was in great shape. He had a beautiful, slim body. If I had met him in life and not known his private life, let's say I went on a date with him, for instance, and let's say he decided after the first date that I wasn't right for him. Personally, I would have been hurt. I would have thought, oh, he's such a good looking man. He's got it all together. He's, and why doesn't he want me? I would have no idea that he can't possibly want a healthy woman. He has to have like this cuckoo nut stuff going on in his life. You just don't.
Did he ever have a girlfriend, or was he always just single? He was like the confirmed bachelor
forever. I don't think he ever. I stopped seeing him when I left the business, but I think probably he was in his 50s at that point. So, and he was just as good looking and wonderful and so smart, and I loved spending time with him. But yeah, so when he would get to a place where he was like ready to get serious about the play, he would make little things like, I want to do something, and he would act like a baby.
Wow.
Did
you ever get creeped out? I mean, were there any moments where, because I'm listening to you and part of me, I'm like, oh, this is funny. But I honestly, Sephe, there's a bit of me where I'm like, might need to go and make a flan or something. Like, did you ever stop and go, holy shit, this is a bit mental?
No, because I think when I first started in the business, I saw right away that each person was like a character. You've done improv. I know you have. You don't know what's coming, but that's part of the game. That's part of the fun. So you just go, oh, well, whenever it shows up, then I just say yes to. There's only one or two people in the whole time that I worked that I went, this is too hard for me. I can't stay with this person. They're too mental for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't very often where it passed into a place where I thought, but usually it was because I felt sad for them and scared for them.
Do you know, I feel like what you've just said there is going to be next week's episode. I do. The people you couldn't stay with because you felt sad for them. So you better be rummaging in that index box, just so you know. Because you know what I feel about this particular index card of Grady and his 5 ladies is that I've had a picture in my head of what kind of people use escorts, like sort of upper class escorts or whatever. And Grady, bless him, has epitomized exactly what I think. Like,
really?
Yeah, because I think it's sort of that stuff of like the 80s movies that were all about Wall Street and money and all that, and that kind of thing, right? The excesses. So I'm pleased. Actually, Grady can go back in the box with a little tick mark on him. From me too, because I go, thanks, Grady. You sound crazy, actually, completely crazy.
Oh.
Thank you for being the epitome of what I thought the escort world was.
It kind of is, except he was a little kookier than other. But yes, but you just said it right. I think during that period of time was that time of Wall Street.
Yeah.
And it was that time of, we went from, who came after Clinton? I'm sorry, that just lost my mind.
Bush. Didn't you go Clinton Bush?
We went Clinton Bush. So Clinton was dipped right in the middle of those bushes. But it was the Clinton era, so that was like money was flowing and people were doing really well and they were passing on that money to other people. And it was a time of great.
And ladies with cigars in Oval Offices and all manner of.
That's right. Cigars were big. Gambling was big. So there was a lot of that in the escort business too. So yeah.
And Grady had a microwave.
Do
you know what? I might put a tie in a microwave. Don't do this at home, kids. But I might put a tie in a microwave just to see what it does.
Well, we put other things in the microwave that were funner.
What?
No, so this was another time that Grady fell asleep after. It was probably 3 in the morning. Well, let me just say this. What we should have done is we should have, when Grady fell asleep, cover him up, turn out the lights, call Susan and say, he's sleeping, we're all going home now, or we're all coming back to the office or whatever. And then she would have stopped our time and not charged him anymore.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that. Because it was so easy. And
there is no honor among escorts, Sephe.
There usually is, but when it came to Grady, it was sort of free. It was a free-for-all. It was chaos because he was chaos. But anyway, so we went back into the kitchen. At this point, it was one of those nights he had bought all sorts of strange toys from the sex shop. Strange toys that nobody wanted to use. That was the night of the pig. But also, there was this thing, I'd never seen it before. I don't think any of us had, because we were like, what is this? Is it a flashlight? Is it a vagina? So it was this kind of flashlighty looking thing that if you flip the switch, it had like, you see my lips, how big they are. It was like this. I mean, if nobody can see this, then we'll describe it. But
I think that's good that nobody can see it. You know.
Okay. It was like a wide mouth bass coming for bait.
Oh, do you think that's so that they could use it when they're camping? Do you know what I mean? If you're camping or if you've got a long flight or something like that, right?
I'm sure that was what they used it for. But so that was sort of the thing. And we just thought it was just the funniest looking.
Did you put it in the microwave? You didn't put it.
So what we did was we got a coffee cup and we put water in the coffee cup and then we put the flashy thing in the dildo, whatever you call it. The opposite of a dildo, anyway, put it in the coffee cup. And so the lips were sticking out the top. It was just going around and around. And at first it did look like a fish sort of bobbing, for bait. And then all of a sudden the lips started doing this. And then it sort of was like, it was kind of a lispy kind of a dime. A very crooked one. Like, I'm sure some girls have that. And I don't mean to make fun, but but it was sort of like.
But they're not those same girls that have got that are not also, their bodies are not just posts that look like torches. They do actually have. It's to do with a proportion thing there. Did it not explode in the microwave because of the metal?
I don't think there was actual metal. I think it just looked like there was. It didn't. It just had a thing that would. I think they just lube it up and stick their thing in it.
Whoa.
And so I don't think
handy for camping, probably.
The word is handy.
And you can keep your pencils in there if you're putting it in a rucksack, right? Pencils in a rucksack. That's a recipe for disaster.
It could be a golf tee. I could just put a ball in that and wick it up.
I do feel like Grady could have done a directory of sex toys.
Yes, and he just was so embarrassed the next, like as soon as he finished himself, like as soon as he finished his moment and then started to fall asleep, he was mortified and embarrassed and ashamed. He was Catholic, very Catholic. And I'm not Catholic, but he would for a little while sing some of the songs they would sing in all boys school in their Catholic school in Latin, and he learned all this Latin. So we'd have to sing these Catholic songs and make it better. And then get the toys out of here, everybody go. There's a lot of shame.
Do you think it's sort of, Grady sounds a little bit Jekyll and Hyde, just so you know. That he's like, I'm a nice, I never do anything apart from sing lovely songs in Latin. And then, hello, I'm calling Susan, send him over. I can feel some naked charades coming on.
Yes, that's exactly right. You nailed him, but not literally.
No, and that's the way it'll stay.
That's
right. I think that's a good episode too, Grady. That's Grady who liked a lady. Or 5.
5, yes. And we didn't even get to the other teeth guy, so that's okay. We'll have him for another time.
She's the sweetheart of 6 other guys.
I've been Lynn Ferguson talking to Sephe Haven, and this has been my Index to Sex. See you again next time.
She's the sweetheart of 6 other guys.
You have been listening to My Index to Sex, produced by Ferdal LLC. The music was performed by Chesney Hawkes, and you can learn more about Sephe Haven at sephehaven.com. Go to mitspodcast.com to check out the show notes for more details, including how to stay in touch, give feedback, and ask questions. All the best.
Sunday's my only time with that bozo of mine, 'cause she's the sweetheart of 6 other guys.